John, have you ever heard this song?
I have not. I don't.
It surprises me a little bit because it's not like poppy.
No, it would be more something I probably would listen to, but no, I don't think I've ever heard this one. And we tried to play it at the break. We're like, get to the chorus.
Your kids have probably heard it.
This guy heard it.
For sure he did. Thank goodness he did.
So when was this? This was 2013
was the question, yeah. One of $2,000.
But they still play it on air all the time.
Yeah.
It's popular.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay.
Radio stations do.
Well,
even ours right now.
Currently.
Yes.
There you go. One of our 10 questions for the $2,000 Slam. We had a winner. $2,000. All right.
Fun Mike Macdonald story real quick.
Yes.
When he was the defensive coordinator at Michigan, it was 21, the first win against Ohio State in 17 years. It was, obviously, everybody remembers the crowd rushing the field. Mike was up in the booth and was trying to get across the field, couldn't get across the field, so he went around on the concourse and then tried to come down the stairs to get into the tunnel.
Okay.
Well, in the process, he had lost his credential. And so he tried to get to the tunnel, and they're like, no, sir, you're not allowed to go in the tunnel. Only coaches and players or team personnel. He's like, I am a coach, because he looks so young. Even now, he looks so young. He looked like a college student. And it took another coach that had a credential to come up behind him and say, oh, no, actually, he is the defensive coordinator. And they're like, I guess we'll trust you.
All right, then. That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway,
last night was Fedorov night at Little Caesars Arena, and first class. And Fedorov, the showman he is, comes out in the Corvette. They touched all the right notes. Karen Newman's doing the anthem. They got the white skates in the warm-up. Everybody's wearing 91. 91's where it belongs. Long overdue. It's hanging in the rafters. I thought his speech was great. It had some twists and turns, and he had some fun with it. He mentioned specifically about leaving Detroit, and this is what he had to say about that. And he was super interactive. He was looking over towards his wife, his kids. He said that's the only good thing that came of leaving Detroit is he met his wife, and now they have these two, as he put it, beautiful children. He's looking over at Steve Yzerman. There was a little emotional moment. He went over to Vladdy Konstantinov and shouted out the Russian Five. Vladdy was on the ice. It hit all the high notes last night. I thought it was first class. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you got to go win the hockey game.
Which they did in dramatic fashion. They could have done it a lot easier.
Up 3-0. I'm going, all right, what's going on with the Steelers-Texans? And only to see
7-6.
Not a lot. Not much you wanted to watch over there. I guess I'll go back to the hockey. And the Canes score the first of their 3 goals, and you go, boy, the way they play, they're going to bear down on you. Then you give them a gift, Larkin turnover, odd man rush, shorthanded goal. Raymond, little love tap, they get him for a penalty, then Sherratt, 5-on-3. You knew they were going to score at the end of the game with 2-man advantage. It was just about were they going to be able to get the point in overtime. And they did. And it's Andrew Kopp getting away with the cross check. No harm, no foul. Red Wings win. He had a multi-goal night. People are feeling good about this hockey team, and we've been asking you the question about your level of buy-in. 1 to 5 car flags. 248-539-9797. The other thing we want to talk about is 91 is finally up there. Mm-hmm. Long overdue. Who's next? And maybe another layer is which Detroit athletes are you confident will get their number retired?
Well, that's a much longer list.
So let's start with the short list first. Who's next?
So I think you would probably have to look at some Tigers.
Yeah, I think you would look to Verlander.
Did they retire Miggy's when he retired? No. So
Miggy will be next.
Yeah, Miggy's probably next. Verlander, whenever he hangs it up, will probably be shortly after that.
Mm-hmm. Beyond that, I think an interesting question, like the Red Wings clearly have a high bar. You could never have put Datsuk in before Fedorov.
Right.
You just couldn't jump the line, and there clearly was a lot at play there. But Fedorov's is up there. Pavel Datsuk's a Hockey Hall of Famer. I'm not telling you he has to go up there, but I think it's a natural question. And if Zetterberg gets in the Hall of Fame, do they both go up there? So the case for Datsuk, all the Selke Awards, multiple Stanley Cups, the case for Zetterberg, he had the one cup, but he won the Conn Smythe. He was the captain.
Yeah. I think Datsuk is the next wing, and it's probably one of those where I would think, okay, this year is obviously Sergei.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some unwritten rule? Well, they got to have a gap year. If not, he probably goes in next year because it was simply just waiting for Sergei's number to go up.
I just know they have such a high standard. Like to be a Red Wing rafter number, it's not, I was one of the all-time, like there's a different level. They've only done it 9 times in 100 years of hockey. But those would be the next 2 I'd look for the Red Wings would be.
Yeah, but that was a stretch right there where there's going to be a handful. Obviously, Yzerman's is.
Yeah, they waited all of like 60 days to put Yzerman's number in the rafters. It's been a longer wait for others. What about one that's just getting weirder and weirder? Matthew Stafford. He's going to hold all the team records if he's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. How many teams have a Hall of Fame?
He currently holds the team records.
I suppose Goff plays long enough he could pass him. Yeah. But if he's 1 or 2 in all of your passing stats and he's in the Hall of Fame, isn't that a guy whose number gets retired by a franchise? It's getting weirder because if he continues to stack like playoff wins, maybe an MVP, a second Super Bowl win, he does 6 to 8 years in LA.
Yeah, accomplished much more in LA than he ever did in Detroit. And so I would think that the Rams would be the team that would retire his number.
But some guys get retired by multiple teams. LeBron's going to have his jersey retired by 3 teams.
Yeah. The rarity is that it gets retired across the sport, but that's not going to be happening.
No. Have to go on quite a tear.
Yeah.
Imagine all that happens, but let's say Jared Goff wins a Super Bowl in Detroit. While that happens,
it's even weirder. Right? It just adds like weird layers to this.
It would be weird, but I almost think it would shut the door on Stafford getting his number retired.
So 12 years in Detroit, he'll spend the majority of his career playing for the Detroit Lions. And we're starting to see him solidify a Hall of Fame resume. John, what do you think? No?
I would say no.
Okay. I think it's a yes.
Yeah, but he didn't win anything here.
Neither did Barry.
Yeah, but
neither did Calvin.
But Barry you could argue Barry's the best at that position. You can't make that argument for Matthew Stafford. And I say you could argue it because people will argue it. I think he's the best running back to ever play the game.
I do too. I do too.
There's a big difference there.
248-539-9797. Who's next? And if you have thoughts on last night's Fedorov ceremony or the Wings at large, we don't want to shortchange our first place hockey team.
Right, especially if you were there. I want to hear more about what it felt like. What was your favorite moment if you were at the LCA last night?
Yeah. Look, they brought out the trophies he won, the Hart Trophy and the Stanley Cup and the Selke and the Lester B. Pearson. Like they presented this as the big deal that it is.
Mm-hmm. And as we're talking about the next jersey to be retired, we mentioned Miguel Cabrera, we mentioned Justin Verlander, Pavel Datsuk. We've mentioned a couple other guys, but there are some guys playing right now that could be building a resume that, hey, maybe they are going to be in that next wave.
So who are guys that you feel like, and let's go to the phones because we got some good response there too, but who are some guys that are in that next group? I think it's a good conversation. We'll continue it on the other side. It's 97.1.